right. Good morning to the hockey family. It is Monday, January the 29th, 2024. We hope you had a nice weekend. It feels great to be back in the office after a few weeks of travel. I know we have the NHL and the American League All-Star games this week, so hopefully you get a couple decent days off to spend with friends and family. I know I'm excited for a haircut. All right, back when I played, my hair was much longer, but these days, as soon as it starts like getting on the collar back here, this can't quite rock the mullet these days. But today's topic, I wanted to touch on is what I think is probably the most overlooked item, and maybe I should say opportunity for hockey players that I think is underutilized just from the guys we start working with and their families. And many times we don't see this in action, but that is the use of Roth IRAs. Okay, so Roth IRAs, and the Canadian somewhat equivalent would be the TFSA. Okay, some differences, but largely the same. Okay, so funded with after-tax dollars. Okay, but once it's in the account, your dividends tax-free, interest tax-free, the growth is tax-free. As long as you follow a set of rules later in life, even your distributions are tax-free. Okay, so a really powerful vehicle, but often not used. And a few reasons for that, I could think of when I was trying to put this together for this morning's call. Three reasons I think that they are underutilized. Okay, for one, on the surface, there appears to be an income phase out. All right. So for example, if you're playing in the NHL, a lot of guys think, oh, wow, I'm making seven figures. I can't do the Roth IRA because the IRS limit, if you're married filing jointly, if you make a little bit more than 200,000, you're not allowed. And I think, if you file single, it's roughly like 145, 150,000, somewhere in there. It says I'm phased out. Well, that's correct if you're contributing directly to the Roth. Okay. Now that there is a workaround that, call it a loophole if you want, but millions of Americans do it. It's called a backdoor Roth contribution. Okay. The way to attack that is you make a contribution to a traditional IRA. Okay. And that is in the form of a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA. Because it's not deductible, you have basis, right? So for the 2023 tax year, okay, which you have until this April to contribute to, 2023 tax year, if you're younger than 50 years old, that contribution limit's $6,500. All right, so you could put $6,500 in a traditional IRA. You would get that basis, okay, if that is indeed non-deductible. And that's great because then what you do, you take that non-deductible contribution and you convert it over to your Roth. Okay, and so it's a non-taxable event moving from traditional IRA over to your Roth, and now all of a sudden you have followed all the rules, and now even if you're making seven figures a year, you have a Roth IRA balance. Okay, and now so not only can you do that, but if you're married, right, your spouse can be doing that as well based on your earnings. For 2024, that contribution limit is up to $7,000. Right, for each of you. Okay, and that might seem like a little amount, and again, like I think this is another reason why some NHL families wouldn't do this. But if you think about it, okay, just do the math here. So just to make the math easy, let's say it's $7,000. Let's say you're married, okay, $14,000, and you implement this process over the next 10 years, right? So maybe you have 140,000 just of contributions. And that number would actually be higher because the IRS, they increase the amount you can put in to IRAs. All right, so say your contributions are 150,000. Like, it's not unreasonable to think, over a 10-year period at a simple 7% after whatever fees, expenses, whatnot, right? Just using the rule of 72, like your money should double in about 10 years. So all of a sudden that 150, maybe 10, 15 years from now, that's $300,000. Okay. And I mean, I don't care how much money you're making, like to have $300,000 of tax-free money later in life, that's powerful. In my eyes, that's worth doing. Who knows what tax rates might be a handful of years from now. So like, yeah, I think 100% families should be utilizing that. Okay. Another important point, it's not quite that easy. Should you already have IRA balances in place? There's something you need to follow very closely, and it's kind of known as it's like an IRA aggregation rule. Okay, so for example, that non-deductible contribution into the traditional IRA, if you already have IRAs in place, we need to move those, right? And so this is where it makes a lot of sense. You can utilize, if you're still in the NHL, you can utilize the NHL 401k plan. In the American League, the PHPA 401k, right? So you can move those pre-tax balances into the 401ks to kind of get around that IRA aggregation rule. Okay, but yeah, lastly, I think a lot of players don't utilize the backdoor Roth in funding this money because as advisors, it's a lot of work. I just know a lot of firms don't do this, right? So from like, we don't get paid more to do this, right? And so I think a lot of firms, but I don't think I know, because we see, when new accounts come in and guys aren't doing this, if you're making, seven figures and big incomes and your non-retirement accounts are quite large, taking these little steps, like, it might not seem worthwhile, but in our eyes it is, right? Because I think if you can have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 of tax-free money later in life, it's worth doing. So just thought I'd bring it up. Sorry, a little bit long-winded, a little bit more technical than usually on these videos, but sometimes we just got to nerd out and discuss some things that we think hockey guys could be doing a little bit better. So we hope you have a nice week. Again, enjoy the All-Star break for some of you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.